Peace, this is Star with the Star Booms. Um, I literally, y'all, I've been having to sit with myself. I'm being called to be more mindful of where I share from, how I show up when I'm sharing, like what headspace I allow myself to be in. Also recognizing like whatever it is that I'm channeling, y'all. The thing that has been amazing, 155, thank you, Spirit, because that's like what I was about to speak on just now. The thing that has been amazing for me this year has been, I'm wondering, like, okay, because I meditate, I've been in meditation, but sometimes when we start to share, we need to be mindful where we're speaking from, because where, everybody's where they're at, right? And it'll be meant to reach whoever is meant to reach. So that's it. I'll just say this. This year has been very, very beautiful in its own way. A lot of the times, y'all, I think everything happens for a reason. I feel like a lot of the times we don't know what we need, and then it'll happen, and then something will happen down the line. And like I said the other live, there's this like this snippet, because you encountered this, you now have this memory bank, this space where you know, you know, the steps that have been taken here. It's not always so easy, but I do believe it's a lot of like truth to it. So a lot of the times, y'all, for those who have started to like look into like numerology and gematria, excuse me, y'all, confirmation. When you think about things like karmic numbers and the implications that they have and where they might sit at with you, a lot of the times in spirituality, when you're waking up to your truth about it, what is being revealed to you, right, about yourself. When you're waking up to these layers of truth, you have the opportunity to recognize that a lot of things aren't and never really were good or bad, right? Confirmation, but you had no full awareness of it. So you start opening yourself up to taking in more information, experiencing things differently, learning things differently, being more in tune with maybe like how you are, you know what I mean, in certain situations and stuff like that. What do I mean by that? A lot of the times, if you've been operating out of, like I said, like a wounded child, a wounded inner child, if you have issues with abandonment, you might attack people, you know, for no reason. You might go after things that don't belong to you because you have this desire to have this, longing. You have this desire to belong, to be worthy of a connection, to be worthy of something. So you might be out in the world trying to take things that were never really meant to be yours. You have these ways of showing up, maybe that suit an inadequacy that you might have allowed yourself to live with, this certain mentality that you might have allowed yourself to be permeated in. So your pattern is to always go back to this thought process, to this way of feeling about yourself, to this lower self thought talk that you allow to exist in the shadow, but it is very much so in the forefront, right? There is these certain race that you start to recognize, okay, these is the things that were happening. Now I have this layer of information and awareness of it. I'm moving away from these conditions. I've shaken off the things that were conditioned in me that weren't, actually in alignment with the truth that I now know about myself. I'm not really a person who's really been abandoned. A lot of the times when I was thinking about the places that didn't accept me, I allowed myself to sit with that space. Now I recognize I was leaving myself in a lot of places, wanting to be other places so I could be accepted by other people. Now I actually initiate acceptance within myself, and I address the places I may have walked away from. I sit with myself and I allow myself to be in the ways that I may have not previously allowed myself to be. And now I have a way of doing. And then you have this way of, okay, because this condition isn't there, a lot of the times, y'all, the condition is 521. It took up so much space, right? That you didn't even know, right? That you were moving at this rate. So when you stop being at the rate that you were at, you have to actually allow yourself to be in, well, who am I? You know what I mean? Like, who am I? I don't know why I heard you and Layla. Oh, goodness gracious, intrusive. So you have this rate of like, okay, I'm now at this rate of, okay, how am I going to be at in this space? What I've learned this year, y'all, and it's so much on like the Chinese, like, snake year, and then we're going into like the horse year, and then there's so much information that you could share in that space. But I feel like even when it comes to just like a self thing, when you start to learn certain rates of like numerology and recognizing how certain information has been present with you, and then understanding the way to communicate in this way. Y'all, when you think about gematria and numerology, you actually living in a space. This is a language, okay? And it is such a vast language that is so, you be doing yourself a favor getting really, really close with the numbers that are consistently present with you in your space, in your life. You'll see how your spirit team has been constantly showing up for you. How even in your name, there's a specific rate of being that has been, you know, consistent for you. There's this way that you have like certainty. There's these specific things that you start to learn that the Most High was intentional that you would have, even in just the numbers that live around you, right? That allow you to be aware of the pathways that have always been present for you. See, we believe a lot of the times, y'all, because it's like for some reason I'm being pulled away from sharing the specific numbers. I wanted to talk about the numbers, y'all. And the reason why I wanted to talk about the numbers, because I want y'all to see that there's patterns and spirit is pulling me away from it. But it's still like a way and to be able to share what I want to share. Get into the space where you recognize the truth about who it is that you are, and then ridding yourself of the things that you know you aren't, while allotting yourself the space to get clear on how many and how big of a vast potential that you have, just because you're no longer commemorating yourself in the things that can't be, right? And what is this? I can't not be worthy. Why? Because these match up with this, because this is, spirit was so specific that this would happen on this time of this year, each year at this specific area, just because they needed me to be aware of. There are certain markers and marquees, or certain placements and placards that are like statues in our life that have been present with us, in existence with us. And when we allow ourselves to learn, right, and to get information about these things, we are open to like a new world, we are open to a new world. And it'd be so amazing, because we might be feeling, you might be in this world thing where you like trying to convince yourself of worthiness based off of a person, when in truth your worthiness is always going to be validated from inside and with you. And then you have the proof that'll show up based off of how you connect to the truth that you've allowed yourself to be in alignment with, right? So if I now know that I'm not in this space where I spoke on abandonment a second ago, where I'm not, I know I haven't been abandoned. I know I'm no longer abandoning myself. I'm not going to do and be in the actions of the things that I may have acted out of wounding because of where I was previously at. You get to heal at a rate that makes things different. You get to be in the difference, because that is what's necessary at this time. Um, If I feel guided to share more, I will. I hope that this may help y'all to be able to just open up to like understanding in a different rate and seeing things in your own uniqueness. Okay. I love y'all. Please share, like, comment, peace.